Welcome to the Primo's Musings podcast.
Good evening. This is Shri here with the update from Wimbledon, semifinal update for the women's singles semifinal. So we had two great matches today with the world number 4 Rybakina playing against Krejcikova, and what a match it was. And when you looked at the first set, the way Rybakina was playing, and I think she's the best player left out there right now. She was completely in control of the match in the first set. She was completely dominant in the first set. She was up 3-0 in a jiffy, and she looked primed to take this in straight sets. Everything was going for her. Her way she was, both the players were pretty much playing for the baseline for the most part. Very rare you saw them coming to the net. The first serve in the first set was not um, really up to par, but Rybakina, with the way she moved her opponent all across the court, and then finishing off with a great forehand down the line or a very deep backhand, really put Barbora Krejcikova in a lot of trouble. That was in the first set. Um, in the second set, uh, Barbora really, she really bounced out, and she was able to withstand the Rybakina juggernaut. She was able to pace herself. She was much more patient. She was much more selective about where she was placing the ball, um, making sure that Rybakina was making more uh, errors than the first set. And it was she's predominantly um, a doubles player, but give her credit of the way she hung in this match and really put a lot of pressure on Rybakina. And in the second set, she continued to, like I said, apply pressure, and it turned into break points, and she was able to break Rybakina and win it at 6-3. Um, in the third set, her serves were much better. Even though overall in the match she had more double faults than Rybakina, her first serve was at least 14 to 15% higher than Rybakina, and that really helped her get back in the game. She was able to set herself into good first serves and able to finish the shots much easier than getting into a long rally with Rybakina. Again, from a standpoint of breakpoints, they were pretty much equal, but Barbora had a little bit better percentage, at least I would call it 66%, whereas Rybakina only had a 33% break point success. And Barbora was really like the game was much closer in the third set. It could have gone either way, but I think she continued to keep the pressure up, and a lot of excellent drop shots, and also keeping Rybakina really uncomfortable, not used to this kind of a game, and she was able to um, upset her. That's what I would call it. It is called an upset from the standpoint of women's singles. No one expected. I did definitely think that Rybakina was going to win. That was my prediction um, yesterday. But great credit to Krejcikova for winning. But the thing that really, I would say, it was quite emotional for her. Like I said, she was mostly a doubles player, but the fact that she was able to win in center court, where um, her idol, uh, you know, was Yana Novotna. Everyone remembers who, Yana Novotná was. She was someone who had won the Wimbledon. She was a 1988 winner, and she was actually coached by Yana Novotná for at least 4 years, and uh, she's she was inspiring. She died of cancer at a very young age, at less than 49 years old. She was working 2 years ago with Yana Novotná, and she was kind of inspired by her story to win Wimbledon. And here's now she is in the center court of Wimbledon, winning it, and making her coach, making her mentor so proud. Very emotional. I definitely think that these are kind of stories that make the tournament what it is. Um, and in the second semifinal, uh, Italy's Jasmine Paolini, who was a French Open finalist, she was also in the round four of the Australian Open. She played against Donna Vekic in one of the longest women's semifinal in Wimbledon history. Uh, she raced out. Again, it was a very close game for Paolini, and again, it was one of those things where experience sometimes takes over. In this case, Vekic is a good, solid player, but when you look at Paulini, someone who never gives up. I mean, she takes everything. I would like to see how many miles she actually ran through the courts today. In the first set, it seemed like Vekic was running her off the court. She had no answers for Vekic, and Paulini was completely, I would say, completely unsettled by Vekic, who put on such a great display and won it at 6-2. In the second set, Paulini settled down. She was able to regroup herself. And when you look at the way she fought back, her first serve percentage went up. She was winning more points on her first serve. The good news for Paolini was that Donna actually had more chances for breakpoint. She was only 4 for 14, while Paolini was 3 for 7. And that was the story where Paolini was able to stave off so many breakpoints and stay in the game, stay in the match, and won the second set at 6-4. And the third set looks like Vekic again took on a 3-1 lead, and uh, Paulini had to do everything in her power. There was a point where she comes into the net, she tries to, uh, you know, keep her opponent unsettled, and was able to, with a touch volley, able to get the break point, get to the 3-2. Then it became 3-all, and then it was going back and forth until the tiebreaker. The tiebreaker was not easy by any stretch of imagination, where it was going back and forth. And Paulini just hung in there, and at 8-all, she had a unbelievable rally with Vekic hitting the ball out, and then at 8-9, Vekic serving. Vekic was not able to control her shot, and which sailed over the line, thereby giving Paulini her second straight final um, in the majors. So, a little trivia question that I did ask Dr. Dan about it. Still waiting for the answer, but this is the first time since a woman had made back-to-back semifinals in a major, or back-to-back finals in a major since 2016. Who else? One of the greatest, Serena Williams. So there you have it. Saturday will be an unusual final. Krejcikova was this Paolini. Krejcikova still, she's got the emotion of Yana Novotná with her, versus Paolini, who has something to prove, as I mentioned yesterday about the Italian resurgence, and looking forward to that excellent final on Saturday. Now, let's get down to the men's singles final tomorrow. You have Medvedev and Alcaraz at 8:30. You have Musetti and Djokovic right after that. I think yesterday I mentioned that Alcaraz was definitely the favorite going into the match, only because um, I feel that he's got more experience than Medvedev. This is his title defense. Um, he did defeat Medvedev in straight sets last year. It was a pretty one-sided semifinal, but Medvedev did bounce back, beating Sinner in the previous round, and Medvedev also beat Alcaraz in the U.S. Open, different surface. But it'll be interesting to see uh, if Medvedev can have the same level of play that he had against Sinner, and can he match Alcaraz over 5 sets? I mean, you know that Alcaraz is there. I mean, he's already had a 5 setter versus Tiafoe, another 4 setter against Tommy Paul. He has had some very tough matches, but Medvedev, again, maybe he gets, he gets hot and then plays much better like he did in the U.S. Open. And in the other semifinal, you have uh, Lorenzo Musetti taking on Djokovic. Djokovic is now in the 49th Grand Slam final. Let's sit back and think about it. And Musetti was going to be taking part in his first Grand Slam. And it's going to be very interesting. He is he's been playing well, one of the best backhands that he's had. Um, and I think he does think that he's got best yet to come. He served his best tennis on grass court, um, and he won a very impressive fifth set against Fritz. He had exquisite drop shots, backhand slices, great volleys, and of course, as I talked about it, one-handed, single-handed backhands, and it's going to be interesting. He did take Novak Djokovic to 5 sets at the Roland Garros just a month ago. He's quite confident. But he's taking on one of the greatest. So in the game, so it's going to be interesting. But I still feel Djokovic is going to win it all against Musetti, and it's going to be the final that we always wanted, which is Alcaraz Djokovic. So there you have it. Let's see if Musetti and Medvedev have other ideas. Thank you again for listening, and looking forward to the women's singles final on Saturday between Paolini and Krejcikova. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you for listening. Primo will be back soon.